10 in favor of it.
We finally got to a 6-6 conservative school board because they're not partisan. So we finally got involved in this last time period, and I think we're about 6-6 conservative. But even with that,
But they're still gonna vote for it.
They're still gonna vote
According
for
to
it.
that, I'm going by what Amanda told me yesterday.
Right.
She's on the school board, she's a conservative
right.
there.
And Amanda's was one of us, got involved with us, and
Yes,
then
ma'am.
we got her to run for office, and she got elected and she took out the chairman of the school board. So that actually worked out pretty good.
She did good.
So Amanda got in there, and
Yay.
she works with Don a lot. Don got her elected, right?
All right,
Well, I
Don.
worked at it, let's put it that way, and I encouraged her to run. I put she was the president of my precinct at that time.
Right.
And,
But realize we got 6 more of those. They rotate every 2 years, so we got 6 school board members. We'll get very active in that. We got 7 out of the 12 county council members that'll be up. We'll be very active in that next year. But that's next year. We got to defeat this now. Yeah.
Well, my representative showed up at my meeting last night.
Did he really?
Oh, yeah.
Alan Morgan?
No.
School board member?
County.
County? Oh, Mike Barnes?
Mike, yeah.
Really? What'd he say?
Oh, I think he's for the increase.
I think he might be too.
Yeah, oh, he was, because he wanted our support, and I just looked at him, I said, you actually want us to say, yes, please raise my taxes. I said, are you crazy?
Well, we had 3 regional meetings going on,
Yeah.
and Mike knows he's got somebody's going to run against him.
Yeah, I kind of informed him that last night.
Yeah.
We're gonna find someone,
And you?
But yes, I did.
Maybe you.
No, not
Terry.
But I did hear that on the county issue, so far there's not enough to pass it. There's more that are against it,
Yes.
supposedly.
So we'll
But we
defeat the
still
county
need,
one.
we
We'll make
still,
them
we
go back
still
to
need to
the.
call though, and if you're in Mike Barnes, you need to call him.
Yeah.
Because he's for it.
We'll do an
And he's of
email.
course selling it for the police, the fire,
EMS. He gave me the whole
He's
story.
pulling your heartstrings.
Yes. I just
So,
looked at it. Yes.
yeah, I kinda
He said
looked
right
down
there
too.
where Nick is sitting. So that's a tainted secret.
Not anymore.
Thank you for clearing.
Yeah, forgot to say that.
Yeah, that's
That's
amazing.
better.
But it's interesting that he went to your regional meeting.
And
Did y'all
really-
invite him, or he just knew?
No, he showed up.
They are all,
I was
what
shocked.
we're doing is freaking them out. They've
Yeah.
never done these
Yes,
meetings.
yes.
There's never been a
Oh,
precinct
okay.
meeting. Now we got regions going on, all of
There
this
you
is
go.
new stuff that we've introduced to them. And they're not too happy about it. But
I
I will, Mark, talk to you guys about what they're doing and what we're fighting here with the sanctuary county. They're due the cities mainly, but it's gonna be a tough road to hoe here in Greenville. That's okay. As part of it is we want to expose why they're not doing it, number one. We had issues with getting them just to fight, the library books, which is shocking to me. But, and you're talking 10 or 2 Republicans and Democrats. So please, welcome. And if you can go tonight to Greer, they got something tonight at Greer at 6 o'clock.
Correct, 6 to about 8. So,
Perfect.
yeah. So my name is Mark Lee Dixon, director with Right to Life of East Texas, and founder of what's called the Sanctuary Cities for the Unborn Initiative. And I was also the only private citizen that was sued in the Texas Heartbeat Act lawsuit, which went before Supreme Court of the United States, and we won that. And so, been doing this since June of 2019. We have 67 cities and 2 counties that have passed ordinances prohibiting abortion within their city limits. And so the largest is Lubbock, Texas, population 264,000. Smallest is Impact, Texas, population 20. We're across 7 different states. We're in Texas, we're in Nebraska, Ohio, Iowa, Louisiana, New Mexico, and Illinois. And we're wanting we're doing some work in Virginia right now, and South Carolina, and Missouri, and Arizona we're reaching into as well. But we believe firmly, Amos 5:15 says to hate evil, love good, and establish justice within your city gates. We believe that the local level matters. If an abortion facility comes into a community, it's not the state capital's problem, it's not the nation's capital's problem, it's that community's problem.
Yes.
And those leaders can do something about it. Now, what we have found out in this process is that those people that we've elected into office sometimes don't share our beliefs and values. And in Odessa, Texas is a great example. Odessa, Texas, there was a guy by the name of Javier Hoven, who saw his government and he had some issues with it, lack of representation, and so he decided to run for mayor along with a number of other people run for council to get their beliefs and values in leadership in Odessa. Well, they ran on the platform of making Odessa a sanctuary for the unborn, and they all got elected. And so they got elected, and they thought they had the votes, but they were one vote shy. And who was it that shot it down? A Republican.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, so many times it's Republicans that are the problem. We talk about Democrats being a problem, but there's Republicans can be the problem as well. And it's always more, you expect it out of the Democrats. You don't expect it out of the Republicans. There's a situation going on in Texas right now with some people trying to, impeaching Attorney General Paxton. And I'm really upset. A lot of Texans are really upset. They're hearing it. We're hoping the Senate's going to squash this. And so, but every place is worth fighting for. Guys, you got to remember, at one time in Texas, we had Ann Richards as governor, a horrible lady. In the Planned Parenthood family, she was governor, but we got rid of her.
Yes.
And we can get rid of bad leadership, whether they have a D or an R by their name. Bad leadership is bad leadership. And so in Odessa, it took a while. We ended up having to get some clowns out of office because they're one vote shy. But then now, Odessa, Texas, back in December, there was another election. The vote on the ordinance came, it was 6-1. And so we cleaned house.
Right.
And you know what
Good
they
job.
also did is they fired the city attorney, they fired the city manager.
There you go.
And guys, city managers and city attorneys, you probably know this. City managers and city attorneys can be horrible for cities.
Yes,
They can be little tyrants,
Yes, they can.
unelected bureaucrats that's just running the show. And we got to be careful. There was Centerville, Texas. Trump vote over there is about 85%, halfway point between Dallas and Houston. And in Centerville, Texas, they said, we do whatever our city attorney says to do. And I said, well, your city attorney is in bed with Planned Parenthood. So are you not going to pass this ordinance? And they said, what do you mean that our city attorney is in bed with Planned Parenthood? You're just, just because someone's a Democrat doesn't mean da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, oh. He's in bed with Planned Parenthood. He's married to the board chair of Planned Parenthood.
Wow.
So he's literally in bed with Planned Parenthood. And we saw that city council pass the ordinance. And they said, on this one, we're not going to listen to our city attorney. Well, praise God they didn't listen to our city attorney on that one. But, there's more out there than just the abortion issue. There's the library issue. And so we're pushing back on every angle that we can, and we're seeing that this is awakening in New Mexico right now. We're seeing crowds of 200, 300, 400 people show up for meetings at churches, and they're going before their city councils, and we're seeing some great action. We have the mic in New Mexico now. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham doesn't have the mic anymore. We do. And so the people are rising up and taking things back.
Amen.
We need to do this in every single state. And unfortunately, there's some attitudes out there of people thinking, oh, well, the state's passed this, and so we're good. Well, no, we're not good. Thankful that the Heartbeat Act was passed here, but the battle's far from over. In Texas, when we passed the Heartbeat Act, it cut down abortions in half. And our law went into effect, immediately. Here, of course, it's not in effect right now, and tied up in the courts, and so the battle continues. And there are going to be elected officials that's going to say, oh well, we're waiting to see what the courts do. Well, no, true leadership leads. They don't wait on others.
Right.
That's right.
So tonight, meetings 6 to 8, and one last thing I'll mention too. 67 cities and 2 counties. The counties cover the unincorporated parts. We need to see leadership at every single level. It doesn't matter the size of the city. Majority of cities in America there's about 20,000 cities in America. Majority of those cities, 76% of those cities from U.S. Census Bureau, 5,000 and less. And 42% of that, less than 500. And so, according to U.S. Census Bureau, America is a nation of small towns. And so the majority of governments in America should be conservative governments because they're in deep red places. But sometimes what we see small cities have liberal leadership. And so definitely my encouragement is, and I was at a meeting over in Pickens last night, and we were talking about this, and they're like, well, you know, people started talking about who they thought would pass it, who they thought wouldn't pass it, and we got to pay attention at every level of government. The Biden administration wants abortion access in every zip code. You see Planned Parenthood and other groups raising up leadership at every level. I'm seeing, you know, people who work for Planned Parenthood being on school boards. We gotta pay attention, and I thank you so much for, this is a great turnout for just to see you guys caring about the issue here, and just thank you guys so much, and I'll be around, and then tonight, and be around part of tomorrow as well. So
Let me ask a question though.
Yeah.
So if we get this passed by our county council, we have there's 3 abortion clinics in this state, one in Greenville, one in Columbia, one in Charleston. Ours is in the county, right? It's in the county.
Yep.
If we pass it, it doesn't change anything with that particular facility, does it?
Actually, it does. So
How does
we
it?
don't believe in grandfathering things in. We believe in actually, like, so in Lubbock, Texas, there was a Planned Parenthood there in operation under Roe v. Wade. We ended up June 1st is when the 2021 is when the ordinance went into effect there. Total abortion ban. It shut down the Planned Parenthood there. And I played a video last night of when we called the abortion facility and they said they couldn't perform abortions because the ordinance that was passed by the city.
Okay.
And
Glory
so
to God.
we would like to see here in South Carolina an ordinance passed at the county level that would shut down that abortion facility once and for all.
So that is an option.
That is 100% an
Okay,
option.
but otherwise they might write in there that, oh, it grandfathers that one in. So we can draft this.
Well,
where-
and that's the thing, like, so every ordinance that I've given to a city or a county, you know, we draft these specifically for that city or county.
Okay.
And when we do that, we also give a letter from my attorney, Jonathan Mitchell, saying that if they pass this ordinance as is, then he's willing to represent the city or the county at no cost to city, county taxpayers. And so a little bit about Jonathan Mitchell. He was a former Solicitor General for the state of Texas. He was a law clerk for Justice Scalia, quoting court opinions by Alito and Thomas. Professor of Stanford Law, was on President Trump's legal team at one time. Very well accomplished attorney. He was the architect of the Texas Heartbeat Act. And, you know, one of the things, like, you know, me and him were talking yesterday, and I said, hey, this is where things are at in South Carolina, and of course their Heartbeat Act ended up, you know, it's tied up in the courts right now. And Jonathan Mitchell said, well, of course it is, because they didn't write it right. And so, you know,
I think they didn't write it
They
right
did
on
purposely.
purpose.
Yeah.
So they didn't the first time with the other bill.
there's a way they could have wrote it like Texas, that the law would go into effect and the abortion industry wouldn't have been able to stop it.
Okay.
But unfortunately, you know, the abortion industry was able to temporarily stop it, and we just got to fight back. We got to play smart. We got to, and we really believe that we can shut down the abortion facility in Greenville. And then, you know, if we shut down the abortion facility in Greenville, they're just going to look, Greenville County, they're just going to look for someplace else to go, which is why every community. So if y'all don't have leadership that would protect the city of Greenville itself, y'all need to make sure you get leadership to protect that. And I would encourage, I think the sanctuary city issue is a winning issue in places, and running on that platform could be a path to victory. We're seeing great turnouts. I hope we have a great turnout tonight, and of course DeSantis running up against him, but yeah.
Most of our people, like I said, we couldn't give away this. So we've got it's drafted properly to
Right.
take it out today. Could they move into the city if it's a county ordinance?
Yes, because
So they could move the
the
facility
county
into
only
the city.
covers the unincorporated part,
Right.
which is why every every body of government needs to do their part. And the thing is, Wascom, Texas was the first city to do this at 2,189 in population. Right there at the Texas-Louisiana border, 18 miles from an abortion facility in Shreveport, Louisiana, which is no longer operating. But they were looking at Wascom, Texas. Well, when Wascom passed the ordinance, you know, people in Lubbock started to say, man, Lubbock should follow Wascom being the next sanctuary city. It was a while before that happened. And when I first looked at that, I kind of chuckled because I was thinking, Lubbock's is 264,000. It'd be a pretty big jump.
Right.
But, you know, later on we saw, and what helped that was good leadership like Senator Charles Perry and Representative Dustin Burrows and John Frullo united, calling the city to pass an ordinance when they saw a need. Now, there was politics behind the scenes, as there always is. Mayor Dan Pope was not representing the city, and this was in part a way to completely ruin his potential running for office in the future, because he was such a liberal, and that's where he was going after their seats in the future. But we ended up, and then we started cleaning house, and the Lubbock Council was completely against this. We got this on a ballot before the people, and then we started voting those clowns out of office, and so now we have a great mayor in Lubbock, Texas, and we can take back our cities. It's just it's going to take some work. So.
Knowing that we can grandfather it, and knowing that we can get the legal,
Not
grandfather it, you know, make it effective immediately, and get the legal representation. I mean, that's huge. That's huge.
Thank you, Mark.
Because that's a big
Yes,
success.
thank you.
Thank you for what you
for
do.
all
We
you've
appreciate
done.
it.
y'all.
Go tonight, and I'm
Can
excited
you
about
repeat
this
the
piece.
time, the application for the thing tonight?
Yeah, so it's at Randall House Church in Greer, and that's from 6 to 8. A good hour of that is Q&A time, and so in all these ordinances, we're actually incorporating what some federal law passed in 1873 by Congress that have never been repealed, which prohibits the mailing and receiving of abortion-inducing drugs. And so in federal law trumps all state laws and state constitutions, and so there's multiple things in this that, you know, we really feel strongly about that can do some damage. And the other thing too is we have at 4 o'clock we're having some good old chicken spaghetti and salad and tea and everything. You know, it's pastors and leaders. I view you guys as leaders. If any of you guys are interested in coming to that early and just hanging out, that's gonna be at 4 o'clock, and feel free to show up there. We'll have chicken spaghetti, and I'll remember y'all's faces. So yeah. You know, some people from the abortion facility were saying that they were going to try to show up tonight at 6.
Bring them.
They interrupted a meeting that we had at the library, which I'm like, I've never had meetings at the library. That's just a horrible place to have meetings at, you know, because so many liberals run libraries. But shut them all down. No. But yeah, so tonight we're probably gonna have to get some police to escort some people out if they show up. But you know, we're gonna stand strong, and we're gonna have our meeting, and it's not gonna be stopped tonight like it was at the library. So
The Pickens one was at the library.
no, we had one, a small one here a while back, and pro-abort showed up and prevented us from finishing our meeting.
Okay. Is Stan the one running, or is that who you work primarily with here?
So
Change your life.
Stan's the one that's really interested in this, and so I've been talking to him a lot. There's some other ones that are interested as well, but you know, it is going to be a battle, but this will show where they stand, and you know, applying pressure is always great. So I think you guys seem like you already experienced that, but applying that pressure. And this is something that, you know, in Grayson County, Virginia, we had them vote to move this forward, and then we had a couple of them back up a little bit and say, well, we said we wanted to hear from the people, but we decided to schedule a hearing for December 14th. After, it was like 7 months from now, you know? And so we put a lot of pressure on them, and so they're moving that up to July or August. And so we're hopeful to get this passed in Grayson County, Virginia. But it's going to be a different ordinance there than here because Virginia is a completely different situation than you guys. But I feel very confident that we can see a victory here.
So are you from Texas?
So I'm from Texas, from White Oak, Texas, right next to Longview, Texas.
Okay.
So good old East
I
Texas.
used to live in Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Sweet, sweet.
Freeport.
Freeport, sweet. Where that's
Freeport,
at?
yeah,
Yeah.
an hour from Houston. And I have family that's in Coleman, and my sister lives in Rickleton, I think it is.
Awesome.
So,
All right,
those areas right there, you guys doing anything in those areas as well?
the last place in that area we did some things with was Midlothian, but with across the state of Texas, we have a total ban right now. We are still doing some work in Texas because there's still loopholes to close. Amarillo is our next big target.
Okay.
And of course, passing an ordinance in Amarillo, part of the idea behind that is there's a really good judge, Judge Kaczmarek, and anything we pass there is just going to help bringing cases in Amarillo. So
Awesome. Good job.
All right, fantastic. Go to greenvillegop.com/events. We've got the information about where it is, what time, all that stuff too. So, and I think we sent out the email we sent out this morning had it included in there as one of our events. So,
thank you.
fantastic. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. Gonna cut it off a little bit.
No, I travel all over the
I
place.
think that's it. We're good.